First Contact's Ultimatum. The Vaxari warship Eternal Dominion dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Supreme Commander Zaravek stood on the bridge, her iridescent scales gleaming under the soft purple lighting. Her species had conquered 1,000 worlds across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, yet something about this backwater system made her primary heart flutter with unease. "Status report," she commanded, her translator converting the clicking sounds of her native tongue into standard galactic common. "Scans confirm 9 planets, Commander. 3rd planet shows signs of industrial civilization, primarily confined to the surface and near orbit." The sensor officer's digits danced across his console, detecting approximately 3,000 artificial satellites and a small research station on their moon. Zaravek's facial tendrils twitched in amusement. Primitive, just as their intelligence suggested. This would be a standard submission protocol. Overwhelm them with superior technology, demand their surrender, and add another species to the Empire's labor force. The humans would resist, of course. They always did. But resistance merely provided an excuse for a display of force that would ensure generations of compliance. "Launch the diplomatic probe," she ordered. "Standard first contact package. Give them 1 planetary rotation to respond." The probe streaked toward Earth, broadcasting the Empire's demands in every human language their linguistics team had decoded. The message was simple: submit to Imperial authority or face extinction. It had worked on countless worlds before. Hours passed without response. Zaravek was about to order a warning shot when her tactical officer's scales flared in alarm. "Commander, multiple spatial distortions detected." Before she could respond, space itself seemed to tear open around them. Massive vessels emerged from what appeared to be holes in reality, each easily dwarfing her flagship. Their designs were unlike anything in Imperial records. Flowing organic curves merged with crystalline structures that seemed to bend light itself. "Impossible," Zaravek whispered. "They're supposed to be primitive." A transmission cut through their communications, broadcasting on frequencies that shouldn't exist. A human voice spoke, not in their own languages, but in perfect High Vaxari, the sacred tongue reserved for the Empire's ruling class. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet. Your presence in restricted space has been noted. You have entered a protected system without authorization. Stand down immediately." Zaravek's tendrils went limp with shock. Humans weren't supposed to know High Vaxari existed, let alone speak it. Her tactical officer's voice shook as he reported their scans. "Commander, we're detecting energy signatures orders of magnitude beyond our capabilities. Their weapons, we can't even classify them. They appear to be manipulating fundamental forces we thought couldn't be harnessed." More ships continued emerging from the spatial rifts, taking up formation around the Imperial vessel. Each one radiated power that made the Eternal Dominion's generators look like children's toys. "Impossible," Zaravek repeated. "Our intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see." Admiral Chen's voice cut in again. "We've been watching your empire expand for centuries, Supreme Commander. Watching, learning, and preparing. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your scout ships, your infiltration attempts, your careful cataloging of Earth's capabilities?" Zaravek's secondary heart nearly stopped. "Centuries, but we only discovered this sector 50 years ago." A soft chuckle came through the comm. "You discovered it when we allowed you to. Just as we've allowed you to believe you were observing a primitive civilization. The truth, Commander, is that humanity passed the technological threshold your empire represents over 100 years ago. We simply chose to wait and watch, gathering intelligence on your empire's true nature." The human ships began moving in perfect synchronization, their formations creating complex geometric patterns that seemed to twist space itself. Zaravek recognized the display for what it was, not just a show of force, but a demonstration of such advanced capability that it bordered on impossible. "Your empire has conquered thousands of worlds, Admiral Chen continued, her voice carrying an edge of steel beneath its diplomatic tone. Subjugated countless species, all because you believed you were the most advanced civilization in this arm of the galaxy. That ends today. New holograms appeared on the Eternal Dominion's bridge, showing images that made Zoravek's blood run cold. Human outposts on worlds the Empire had never reached. Ancient human artifacts on planets they thought they'd discovered. Evidence of human intervention protecting developing civilizations from imperial expansion. "We've been the guardians you never knew existed," Admiral Chen said. "And now, Supreme Commander, we're going to have a very long discussion about the future of your empire and the rights of all sentient species in this galaxy." Zaravek stared at the massive human fleet surrounding her ship, finally understanding the true magnitude of her empire's miscalculation. They had thought they were hunting prey, only to discover they had walked into the den of a force far beyond their comprehension. As she gave the order for her crew to stand down, Zaravek couldn't help but wonder how many other assumptions about humanity's capabilities were wrong. And more importantly, what changes this revelation would bring to the galaxy she thought she understood. The age of imperial expansion was over. The era of humanity's guardianship had begun. The hidden hand. Deep within the Terran Defense Force headquarters beneath Mount Fuji, Director Elena Santos walked through a holographic display of the galaxy. Countless points of light represented civilizations at various stages of development, some just discovering fire, others reaching for the stars. Red markers indicated Vaxari Empire expansion over the past 5 centuries. "Show me Protocol Lighthouse," she commanded. The hologram shifted, revealing a complex web of hidden human outposts, stealth observation posts, and quantum communication relays. Thousands of invisible watchers, monitoring not just the Empire's expansion, but protecting hundreds of developing civilizations from exploitation. Admiral Chen's face appeared in a corner of the display. "The Vaxari commander has agreed to diplomatic talks. How much should we reveal?" Elena studied the tactical display, showing the Eternal Dominion surrounded by Earth's defense fleet. "Everything," she decided. It's time they understood exactly what they're dealing with. The hologram zoomed in on a particular sector, showing a primitive civilization that had just achieved spaceflight. Hidden in orbit around their world was a human stealth station, its quantum camouflage making it completely undetectable to Imperial sensors. Similar stations orbited dozens of worlds, each staffed by human observers ensuring young civilizations could develop without interference. "Send in the historical records," Elena ordered. "Let them see what we've been doing for the past 300 years. In the diplomatic chamber aboard the TDF flagship Humanity's Dawn, Zaravek watched in stunned silence as holographic images showed the true extent of human civilization. While her empire had been discovering new worlds, humanity had already been there, watching, protecting, gathering intelligence. "This is impossible," she whispered. "The energy requirements alone." "Zero-point energy manipulation," Admiral Chen explained, her uniform seeming to absorb light in impossible ways. "We cracked that particular puzzle in 2157. Your empire still relies on antimatter reactors, correct?" Zaravek's facial tendrils twisted in confusion. "But our sensors never detected. They detected exactly what we wanted them to." Elena's voice cut in as she materialized in the chamber through quantum teleportation. "Every primitive satellite your scouts observed, every radio transmission you intercepted, every sign of a developing industrial civilization, all carefully crafted to match your expectations." She gestured, and new holograms appeared, showing human ships using technology that defied Imperial understanding. Vessels that could bend space itself, weapons that could restructure matter at the quantum level, and defensive systems that made their ships virtually invulnerable. "While your empire was expanding through brute force," Elena continued, "humanity took a different path. We realized early on that true power lies not in conquest, but in protection. In nurturing new civilizations, in preserving diversity, in ensuring that each species can develop according to their own path. The hologram shifted again, showing countless worlds where human intervention had subtly prevented Imperial discovery. Sensor ghosts that led scout ships away from developing civilizations. Quantum field manipulations that masked atmospheric signatures of intelligent life. A vast, invisible network of protection that had operated right under the Empire's nose. 300 years ago, Admiral Chen added, "We detected your first scout ships entering the galaxy's outer rim. We could have destroyed them, revealed ourselves then. Instead, we chose to watch, to understand, to prepare. We built this network not just to protect ourselves, but to protect every species that might fall prey to Imperial expansion." Zarevek's scales had lost their luster, her proud bearing crumbling under the weight of revelation. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Elena's expression softened slightly. "Because your empire was about to discover one of our protectorates, a brilliant young civilization on the verge of achieving faster-than-light travel. We couldn't allow their potential to be stifled by Imperial control." She waved her hand, and a final hologram appeared. A beautiful blue-green world where a species of crystalline beings had just launched their first warp drive test. "The Lumini," Elena explained. "In another century, their understanding of quantum mechanics will revolutionize our understanding of the universe. But only if they're allowed to develop freely. You've been guiding civilization itself," Zarevek realized, her voice barely a whisper. "No," Admiral Chen corrected. "We've been protecting civilization's right to guide itself. There's a crucial difference." Elena nodded. "And now, Supreme Commander, you face a choice. Your empire can either adapt to this new reality, becoming part of a galactic community dedicated to protection and growth, or it can continue its current path and face the consequences." "Consequences?" Zarevek asked, though she already knew the answer. "We won't allow the subjugation of developing worlds to continue," Elena stated firmly. "One way or another, the Empire's policy of conquest ends today. The only question is whether you'll be remembered as the commander who helped transform the Empire into something greater, or the last commander of a regime that chose extinction over evolution." The weight of history pressed down on Zarevek's shoulders as she contemplated the choice before her. Everything she thought she knew about her empire's place in the galaxy had been built on carefully constructed illusions. And now, faced with the truth, she had to decide not just her own fate, but the fate of every world under Imperial control. Empire's End. The Imperial High Council's holographic representations flickered in agitation aboard the Eternal Dominion. 12 of the most powerful beings in the Vaxari Empire, their scales shifting through colors of rage and disbelief as they processed Supreme Commander Zarevek's report. "Impossible," High Counselor Nexus thundered, his image distorting with the force of his emotion. "No species could have hidden such advancement from us. Our intelligence networks were compromised from the start." Zarevek interrupted, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "The humans didn't just hide from us. They fed us exactly the information they wanted us to have. Every scout report, every surveillance datum, every cultural analysis was shaped by their invisible hand." In the adjacent conference chamber, Elena Santos and Admiral Chen watched the exchange through quantum viewing fields. They could see every subtle shift in the council members' scales, every micro-expression that revealed their true thoughts. "They're afraid," Elena observed, "but not just of our technology. They're afraid of what this means for their entire worldview." Chen nodded. "Their empire is built on the assumption of their technological superiority. We haven't just threatened their power, we shattered their fundamental understanding of their place in the galaxy." Back in the council chamber, High Counselor Mirax, her scales a deep purple of contemplation, raised her voice. "If what you say is true, Commander, why haven't these humans simply destroyed us? With such power." "Because that's not who we are," Elena stated, stepping through a quantum portal into the council chamber. The counselors recoiled, their scales flickering in shock at her sudden appearance. Humanity could have eliminated the Vaxari threat centuries ago. Instead, We chose a more difficult path, waiting, watching, protecting others while preparing for this moment. She gestured, and the chamber filled with new holograms. Thousands of worlds under Imperial control, each with detailed analyses of their potential futures. Your empire has stunted the development of countless civilizations, Alina continued. Species that could have achieved greatness, forced instead into servitude. We're here to end that cycle. You speak of ending our empire. Nexus challenged, though his scales betrayed his fear. Admiral Chen stepped through another portal, her uniform rippling with impossible colors. We speak of transforming it. Your empire has achieved remarkable things. Unified transport systems across 3 spiral arms, standardized trade protocols, technological advancement in certain fields. But your methods of conquest and subjugation are no longer acceptable. No longer acceptable. Mirax's scales shifted to a deep red of anger. By whose authority? By the authority of a power capable of ending your empire with a thought, Alina replied calmly. But that's not what we want. Instead, we're offering you a chance to be part of something greater. New holograms appeared, showing a possible future. The Vaxeri Empire transformed into a federation of free worlds. Its military might redirected toward protection rather than conquest. Imperial technology and infrastructure repurposed to lift developing civilizations rather than suppress them. Your species has the potential for greatness, Chen added. We've seen it in the way you've organized vast regions of space, in your architectural achievements, in your ability to unite different worlds under a single banner. Imagine those skills used not for dominance, but for growth. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Centuries of imperial doctrine collided with the undeniable reality before them. Their empire, which they had thought unassailable, had been operating only because a greater power allowed it. High Counselor Mirax's scales shifted to the blue-green of decision. And if we refuse this, transformation. Alina's expression remained neutral, but her words carried the weight of absolute certainty. Then we will dismantle your empire piece by piece, not through violence. We're long past needing such crude methods. We will simply reveal the truth to every world under your control. Show them the evidence of how you've manipulated their development, suppressed their potential. Share our technology with those ready to receive it. Your empire will collapse not from external force, but from within, as every subjugated world realizes the lies they've been living under. You would cause chaos. Nexus protested. Billions would die in the resulting conflicts. No, Chen corrected. We have already prepared for that possibility. Quantum shields around civilian populations, emergency response systems ready to prevent any large-scale conflicts. We've had centuries to plan for every scenario, Counselor. The only variable was whether the Vaxeri Empire would choose to be part of the solution, or force us to implement these measures without your cooperation. Dawn of understanding. 1 month after the first contact, the Great Hall of the Vaxeri High Command had been transformed. Where once hung banners celebrating military conquests, now floated holographic displays showing the status of transition projects across the empire. Supreme Commander Zarevek, her scales shimmering with the green gold of adaptation, stood before a gathering of planetary representatives from across 3 spiral arms. The changes we face may seem overwhelming. She addressed the assembled delegates, many attending via quantum projection. But what the humans have shown us isn't just superior technology. It's a superior way of thinking about our place in the cosmos. Alina Santos materialized beside her, no longer needing to make an entrance for dramatic effect. The past month had seen hundreds of such meetings, as the reality of humanity's guardianship became known across the galaxy. Today we begin the next phase, she announced. The transformation of your military infrastructure into a force for protection and development. The hall's displays shifted, showing the first practical demonstration of this transformation. A Vaxeri battle fleet, once used for subjugation, now refitted with human quantum technology. Their weapons replaced with tools for disaster response, scientific research, and planetary defense. But more significant than any technological upgrade, Admiral Chen added, appearing on Zorevek's other side, is the philosophical transformation these ships represent. From instruments of conquest to guardians of growth, the assembled representatives watched in awe as the demonstration continued. Vaxeri ships, guided by human expertise, using their new capabilities to assist worlds they had once threatened. Quantum shields deploying to protect colonies from natural disasters. Advanced terraforming technologies accelerating the recovery of exploited worlds. We're not just ending an empire, Zorevek declared, her voice carrying the weight of conviction earned through understanding. We're building something far greater, a network of civilizations working together, each contributing their unique strengths to our shared future. A hologram appeared above the hall, showing the Lumini homeworld. The crystalline beings had been informed of their near brush with Imperial conquest, and their response had stunned even the humans. Instead of fear or anger, they offered forgiveness and collaboration, their natural ability to manipulate quantum fields complementing human technology in unexpected ways. This is just the beginning, Elena explained. Each species we protect has unique gifts, unique perspectives, unique contributions to make. The Vaxeri Empire's greatest mistake wasn't its desire for unity. It was believing that unity required uniformity. As if to emphasize her point, new holograms appeared, showing other civilizations emerging from hiding. Species that had concealed their true development level from the Empire, now revealing technologies and insights that complemented both human and Vaxeri capabilities. We've discovered something remarkable, Admiral Chen said, her uniform rippling with patterns that seemed to echo the thoughts of those around her. When civilizations are allowed to develop naturally, without the pressure of conquest or subjugation, they often develop technologies and insights that no other species would have conceived. The diversity of thought is as valuable as the diversity of life itself. Zorevek stepped forward, her scales now shimmering with determination. For centuries, we believed ourselves to be the pinnacle of civilization, spreading order through conquest. We were wrong. True civilization isn't about imposing order, it's about fostering growth. And now, thanks to humanity's patience and wisdom, we have the chance to be part of something far greater than an empire. The hall erupted in discussion, representatives from 1,000 worlds seeing for the first time the full potential of their united future. Species that had been bitter enemies under imperial rule discovering shared interests and complementary abilities. The quantum projection field hummed with the energy of new connections being formed, new possibilities being explored. Elena smiled, sharing a knowing look with Admiral Chen. This was why humanity had waited, had watched, had prepared for so long. Not for the satisfaction of defeating an empire, but for the joy of helping it transform into something greater. Legacy of the Stars. 5 years after first contact, the observation deck of humanity's dawn looked out over a transformed galaxy. Elena Santos stood at the viewport, watching ships of a dozen different species moving through the quantum space lanes that now connected formerly isolated worlds. Each vessel represented a different approach to physics, a unique understanding of the universe that added to their collective knowledge. The latest reports from the Lumini sector are in, Admiral Chen said, joining her at the window. Their quantum manipulation theories have already revolutionized our understanding of dimensional barriers. Combined with Vaxeri energy distribution systems, we're seeing technological advancement rates beyond our most optimistic projections. Elena nodded, her eyes tracking a crystalline Lumini ship as it phased through spacetime, its crew working in perfect harmony with Vaxeri engineers and human scientists, and the formerly suppressed worlds. Exceeding expectations, Chen replied, ringing up a holographic display. Once freed from imperial constraints, their natural development patterns are fascinating. The Arathi have developed biological computing that makes our quantum processors look primitive in some applications. The Nexus Collective has theories about consciousness that are reshaping our understanding of artificial intelligence. A familiar figure approached, Supreme Commander Zorevek, though her title now meant something very different. Her scales rippled with the complex patterns of one who had seen their entire worldview transformed and emerged stronger for it. The last Imperial holdouts have requested admission to the Federation, she announced, her voice carrying pride of a different sort than it had 5 years ago. They've seen what cooperation has achieved and want to be part of it. The holographic display expanded, showing the full scope of what they had built together. The former Empire's military infrastructure had been completely repurposed. Warships converted to exploration vessels, weapon factories transformed into research centers, armies reformed into disaster response teams and scientific expeditions. Humanity's greatest gift wasn't your technology, Zarevek said thoughtfully, but your patience. You could have conquered us at any time, but you waited until we were ready to understand. Elena turned from the viewport. Because true change can't be imposed from outside. It has to come from understanding, from seeing a better way forward. That's why we spent centuries preparing, watching, protecting. Not to defeat the Empire, but to help it grow into something greater. And now? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. Now we continue what we started, Elena replied. There are still young civilizations out there, taking their first steps into the cosmos. They need protection, guidance, the freedom to develop in their own way. But now they have more than just humanity watching over them. They have a federation of species, each contributing their unique perspective to the guardian role. The holographic display shifted again, showing one such developing world. A species of aquatic beings had just achieved their first faster-than-light travel, using principles none of the Federation's species had conceived. Around their world, cloaked observation posts staffed by mixed crews of humans, Vaxari, Lumini, and others watched, protected, and marveled at yet another unique approach to understanding the universe. That's the true purpose of advanced civilizations, Zarevek said, her scales showing the deep blue of wisdom. Not to conquer, not to control, but to protect and nurture the incredible diversity of life and thought that exists among the stars. Admiral Chen smiled. And to learn from each other. Every species, no matter how advanced, has something to teach and something to learn. As they watched, a new ship arrived through the quantum space lanes, a vessel of completely novel design, created through the combined insights of a dozen species. It represented not just technological advancement, but the power of unified diversity, of strength through cooperation rather than conquest. The galaxy is entering a new age, Elena observed. Not an age of empires or even federations, but an age of infinite possibility. Every new civilization that joins us brings new questions, new answers, new ways of seeing the universe. And humanity? Zarevek asked. What role will you play now that others have joined you as guardians? Elena's gaze returned to the viewport, to the endless field of stars that held countless civilizations, each with their own potential, their own destiny to fulfill. The same role we've always played, watching, learning, protecting. But now we do it together, as part of something greater than any one species could achieve alone. As if to emphasize her words, a new alert appeared in the holographic display. Another young civilization had achieved their first lightspeed flight. Around the room, representatives of a dozen species turned their attention to this new discovery, each bringing their unique perspective to the task of protecting and nurturing yet another branch on the infinite tree of cosmic civilization. The age of empires was truly over. The age of unified diversity had begun.